Welcome to the April 20th episode of Beacon Web News. I'm Angelina Clark. MCLA hosted multiple events on the week of April 10th that celebrated sustainability. The week featured events that taught students how to live sustainably, such as upcycling clothing, plastic bag weaving, food canning, and plastic-free alternatives. The event hosted 9 local organizations such as the Plant Connector and Savvy Hive. This event is essential to the college's goal of reducing the college's environmental impact. MCLA's 21st Annual Undergraduate Research Conference is occurring on Thursday, April 20th. This event is a campus-wide alternative educational day where day classes are suspended to ensure that all students, instructors, and staff are present on campus. Day of Dialogue will feature 122 MCLA students that are mentored by 30 faculty members. Jenna McElroy, an MCLA alum of 2016, will give a keynote speech during lunch. Maple, the comfort dog, just turned 1 year old. To celebrate, her owner, Chris Hantman, held a birthday party for the pup. Lots of people came from the community, including other dogs. BWN reporter Sarah Tomczyk gets a treat and more at the birthday party of the year.
Did you miss out on the biggest birthday party of the year? Don't worry, I got you. The owner of Maple the Comfort Dog, Chris Hampton, invited everyone to come celebrate the pup turning 1. With people and pups all around, everyone was there to celebrate Maple's birthday and her as a dog. Coordinator of Civil Engagement and Maple's handler, Chris Hampton, shares her impact on the community.
I've seen firsthand that she has helped students that were in any form of crisis, whether it be stressing about academics or something going on in their personal life. She's been there for them. They've come, sat down, cried, and she's licked away their tears, literally. And she's also just added a lot of fun to campus by going to events and just being something uplifting for the students and the community members.
Students who attended the birthday party express how Maple has personally helped them in their lives.
I'm a Maple stan. I visit her every Wednesday, and when she's not there, I tear up a little bit, to be honest. But, you know, every day can't be a Maple day.
I work for Half Times, which is an after-school program for little kids. So sometimes she'll come and just say hi to the kids, and it makes the kids' day a little bit better, which is cute.
She helps with my depression. Last semester I had a really rough year, so when I come and see her, I'd feel better.
She definitely gives me my boost of serotonin when I'm not doing so good in the day and I'm having that midday crash.
At the party, there were treats for all guests, and even Maple got a bunch of presents. The event was also to help promote donations for Maple's training during MCLA Gives. Owner Chris Hampton elaborates more about the reason why for the need of donations.
Maple was originally donated by an organization that was going to cover all costs, and then a few months after they donated her, they closed. So we were kind of left figuring out how to deal with that. MCLA has been so supportive and paying for everything because that was the original intent of the program, was for her to be a working dog and a part of the campus community. So that's the goal, is that the fundraising campaign will cover all of the costs and that we won't have to pay out of pocket for her to do the things necessary for her to have a job here.
During the party, I had the opportunity to speak with the birthday pup herself. Maple the Comfort Dog shares how she feels about her big day. Maple, how do you feel about turning 1 this year? Did you get any good birthday presents this year? I guess that's a really good treat on the ground. If you missed out on this year's birthday party, don't worry, there'll be another one to come next year. That's all the coverage of Maple's birthday party. For Beacon Web News, this is Sarah Tomczyk.
Mass Mocha hosted a teen invitational which featured hundreds of student artists from the Berkshires. Emma Vareski of Drury High School won a grand prize for her crocheted installation. The art displayed ranged from ceramics, digital art, photography, painting, and textile installations. The North Adams Public School Department is currently looking for volunteers. Opportunities may include reading to classes, assisting with events, and other opportunities that will positively impact the North Adams community. For more information and to sign up, fill out the volunteer form on the North Adams Public Schools website. MCLA alum Deanna Morrow is currently running for North Adams City Council. Morrow has lived in North Adams for about 5 years and graduated from MCLA last year. The alum campaign tackles issues such as housing, transportation, addiction, and more. BWN reporter Em Marlay-Wright gets an exclusive interview with the alum about her campaign.
Deanna Morrow is a recent graduate of MCLA where she studied psychology. She's now taking a stab at politics by running for city council in North Adams. In a Beacon interview, she discussed what issues she hopes to address.
So, some of my top priorities are housing resources, low-income housing, and North Adams. I think there's only been about 1,500 homes built for low income in the past decade, I believe. And the amount, I think the average person currently, 30% of their income goes towards rent. And the rent prices have just been higher and higher every single year. So, that's a big one for me. Being able to get MCLA students to stay here after college, that's a big thing. So, low rent prices too. Addiction resources is a big one. I currently work at Keenan House North, and I am a direct care support. So, seeing a lot more of those resources where people can stay up here and be near their family, their doctors, and all that is really important to me, as well as more female beds, because currently there's one program in North Adams that has, it's co-occurring, so there's both genders, but there's only 16 beds. So, and the last thing is transportation, because as we know, also as MCLA students who don't have cars, it's hard to get around, especially if you wanted to go to Pittsfield, where there's more things. It could take a total of a 3-hour trip during the day. If you miss a bus, it's a whole hour to wait for another one. So it can make going to Walmart and getting back really hard too. And the infrastructure, the roads and the sidewalks and everything, it just needs to be updated better with more bus stops and things. So I would say those are my top things currently.
The alumni turned hopeful politician is still seeking signatures in order to get on the ballot for city council. If you want to support her in her campaign, make sure to get those signatures in. And don't forget to vote in November.
Stressed about finals coming up? Paint and Pet with Maple and R.A. Lauren on Monday, April 24th in the Townhouse's greenhouse. This event allows students to have the opportunity to hang out with Maple and create a masterpiece. Terra, a local vintage shop, has relocated to a larger downtown location in an effort to expand and strengthen ties with the community. Originally, the thrifty shop was located on Ashland Street 2 years ago during the COVID pandemic. Now, Terra has moved to 11 Eagle Street in North Adams. MCLA's spring sports are approaching the end of their season. From traveling to home games, BWN reporter Mamadou Diallo delivers you your spring sports roundup.
Hello, my name is Mamadou Diallo, and this is your spring sports roundup. Women's lacrosse had a tight game against Wells on April 12th with a late goal deciding the game. Clara Lima of Wells recorded a game-high 7 goals with 2 minutes and 26 seconds remaining, which proved to be the game winner for the host. MCLA was defeated 15-16. Summer Nicholas scored 6 goals to lead the Trailblazers in this contest. Julia Graham and Nina Reyes would both score 4 goals. Women's lacrosse played against Framingham State on April 15 and lost a total score of 2-21. Women's lacrosse will return to action against Mass Maritime on Saturday, April 22nd on the Shoecap Field at 6 p.m. On Saturday, April 15, MCLA softball lost a conference game to Framingham State after being shut out twice in a row. In the first game, Trailblazers Madison Tater, Christy Zeta, Maddie Torres, Justina Party, and Maggie Klosinski scored hits, but it wasn't enough for the final score, which was 0-12. In the second game, Trailblazers Haley Peabody, Maddie Torres, and Esmeralda Albright all single, but Framingham came out on top 0-8. The Trailblazers will play a doubleheader at home against Mass Maritime on Saturday, April 22nd at 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. On Saturday, April 8th, the MCLA men's lacrosse team went against SUNY Delhi and lost 4-10. With 2 goals, Nathan Haley will lead the Trailblazers. Men's lacrosse played against SUNY Canton on Saturday, April 15 and lost 6-21. The Trailblazers will play at home against Hudson on Saturday, April 22nd at 10 a.m. The baseball team played against Framingham State on Saturday, April 15 at home and lost 6-9. The Trailblazers traveled to Framingham State the next day and played a doubleheader. The first game, the Trailblazers lost by a score of 4-6, and the second game, the Trailblazers lost by a score of 4-8. The Trailblazers will bounce back in their next game with a 5-4 victory against Westfield State on Sunday, April 16. This weekend, the baseball team will play 3 games against Mass Maritime. The first game will occur on Friday, April 21st at Mass Maritime and starts at 4 p.m. The second and third game will occur on Saturday, April 22nd at home and will start at 1 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. That is all the news of MCLA Spring Sports.
Pop singer Rina Sawayama will be performing at Mass MoCA on June 9th as part of her Hold the Girl tour, Reloaded. Sawayama has had a huge increase in popularity recently as she stars in the new film John Wick 4 with Keanu Reeves and will be performing at large festivals such as Lollapalooza Berlin and Bonnaroo. Tickets are $45 in advance and $60 day of. A Mexican restaurant will be coming to Mass MoCA this spring. Mariah and Justin Forsman signed a 5-year lease for their new restaurant, Casita. This is not the Forsmans' first endeavor into the world of Mexican cuisine, as they opened a food truck named Chiñón Taco Truck 3 years ago. The Forsmans experienced lots of success, spending the past 3 summers in the Mass MoCA courtyard in addition to other venues around the country. Casita is planning to have a soft opening on Memorial Day weekend and a larger opening on June 1st. Many students know Professor Paul Lesage as a business professor here at MCLA. But long ago, Professor Lesage was actually the advisor for the Beacon. BWN reporter Tomczyk learns more about Professor Lesage and his connection with the Beacon.
Time to travel back to long ago with MCLA's professional writing professor Paul Lesage. This special shout out explores all Professor Lesage's life, even his time as the Beacon advisor. The North Adams native returned back home after being hired by the college in 1981. Professor Lesage explains why he was hired at MCLA.
And the main reason I was hired was to do the student newspaper, The Beacon. So I promised that I would have the best student newspaper in the East. And I didn't mention what day or what year, but so by 10 years later, we were #1 newspaper in New England Newspaper Association, Newspaper of the Year, and took it away from some pretty fancy schools down in Boston way.
The professor has been working at MCLA for over 41 years and plans to teach for a few more before retiring. Lesage shares why he has stayed for so long at the college.
I've really enjoyed it working with the students over the years, and that's what's exciting about it. This is my dream job. I teach business writing too. This is my dream job. This is what I wanted to do since I was a junior in college.
Other than teaching, Lesage has other passions like poetry and writing music. Professor Lesage goes in depth about his passions.
Well, I just put together 40 years worth of my poetry in a book called Cup of Cake. Life is a cup of cake filled with its cavities and its depressions. Despite all that, it's always somebody's birthday. I got my songbook, I got 20 songs, I got some on YouTube with my kids. I'll sing it, just paulielesage.com. Or on YouTube, Paul Lesage YouTube, and I got my kids singing with me.
That was this week's MCLA Shout Out of the Week. For Beacon Web News, this is Sarah.
On Saturday, April 23rd, the First Baptist Church of North Adams will be hosting an evening of song, stories, and worship with David Glenn on the church tour and Mark Lee. The First Baptist Church is located at 131 Main Street, and tickets are available online. MCLA Arts and Culture presents You're in Town, the musical, a show full of humorous satire that is sure to make you laugh. The show on Friday and Saturday starting April 21st to the 29th from 8 to 11 p.m. The final show will be a matinee on Sunday, April 20th, all in Venable Hall. Tickets are available online. President Burge has stated that MCLA is working on an initiative with the Massachusetts Department of Housing and Community Development. This will make Berkshire Towers not accessible for student accommodations during the upcoming school year. BWN reporter Savanna Amaral investigates more on the developing story.
There has been talk within the North Adams community about turning Residence Hall Berkshire Towers into a homeless shelter. I, Savanna Amaral, sat down with President Jamie Burge and got the facts regarding this potential housing agreement. On March 23rd, students and parents received an email from President Burge regarding a plan to house homeless families within Berkshire Towers next year. In an interview with BWN and the Beacon, President Burge details the future plan.
This year in the fall, the Department of Housing and Community Development reached out to us to ask if we had any available capacity to house or to temporarily shelter families who were homeless. They'd reached out to a number of other institutions as well. And so we thought about it and realized that Berkshire Towers, which as you know is across the street from campus, was empty because most students wanted to be closer to campus. So this year we moved them over to Hoosick Hall. And because we had that capacity, they were interested in talking with us about it. So we've been talking with them about that for the last couple of months. We don't have an agreement yet with them. We want to see what that agreement looks like before we make a commitment.
If the school were to accept the agreement, there would be certain requirements residents would have to meet.
It would be for around 50 families, all young families with kids who are school-aged. We think there would probably be about 25 children who would go to school either here in North Adams Public Schools or other area schools. The state would provide the transportation, state will provide meals for them, support services, all those things. And really all we have to do is just let them use the facility.
This potential plan would have MCLA working with the Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey on her commitment to affordable housing.
This is the only state where there's a right to housing, and so the state is required to house eligible families when they're homeless. Right now, there are about 18,000 people who are homeless in Massachusetts, but there are only 3,000 shelter beds across the Commonwealth. And so that's where this real tension comes, and that's why the state has reached out to a number of institutions.
Some parents and students have voiced safety concerns. However, the school feels as though this plan will not be putting students in any potential danger.
The reality is that the proportion of people who are homeless who commit crimes is the same proportion of people who commit crimes who have homes. It's more often the case that people who are homeless are victims of crime rather than the perpetrators of it. And so I'm not really concerned about that. I will say that in many cases, when there is some crime that's committed by someone who's homeless, it really makes headlines, right? That's often an individual. It's not a family. And I hope that people remember these are younger families that need housing. And so it's very unlikely that they'd be involved in any criminal activity. We don't anticipate that. And of course, the Department of Housing and Community Development will manage all of those kinds of things so that people know what they need to do and how they need to behave. But I don't see an increase in activity of criminal activity by any means, because these are families and they want to find a home and they want jobs and they want to establish themselves. So.
That was the scoop on this potential philanthropic housing agreement. For BWN, I'm Savanna Amaral.
The North Adams Police Department is getting a relocation and revamp after 68 years of being in the same building. Partially sparked by a complaint and the need to comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act, the officers will be temporarily stationed in the former juvenile court while a plan is developed for a new safety complex. For now, they are excited and settling into their temporary new quarters that will have a lobby for the public, security for evidence, lots of space, and more that the old building did not have. MCLA Arts and Culture will also be hosting Moxie Monday nights. Join them in Greylock Works at 508 State Road for free live music on April 24th from 7 to 9 p.m. to see solo artist Benny Kahn, a pianist with MCLA. Since last year, Greek Life was officially banned from MCLA. Even though they are not allowed at the college, fraternities and sororities still exist. Greek Life at MCLA is now considered an off-campus club. I explored more about MCLA's Greek Life existence. Last fall, MCLA made the decision to ban Greek Life, unaffiliating themselves with the organizations Pi, Upsilon Pi, and Beta Lambda. Despite this, 6 fraternities and sororities still exist on campus, now considered off-campus clubs. I, Angelina Clark, got the details on why exactly this happened. I spoke to Jack Anderson, president of Pi Upsilon Pi, also known as Pines, and Brandon Murray, vice president, to get some insider information about the reality of Greek life on campus in 2023. Anderson elaborates on the experience of becoming unaffiliated with MCLA.
We lost our affiliation when I had just gotten into Pines, and because we didn't have a ton of brothers at the time, I was basically got in and started being VP pretty much fresh off the bat with Murray as my president. And so de-affiliation happened right when I got in. I'd say in a lot of ways, affiliation in our charter with the school, it did help us and benefit us, but we've been able to do a lot more afterwards because we don't have to It frees up a lot of money for like security deposit and liability insurance type stuff.
Murray continues, discussing the benefits of affiliation.
And, that's really a lot of what it was being able to publicly advertise ourselves.
When asked about the reason why unaffiliation happened, Anderson responds,
When COVID first hit, a lot of people were lacking on communication. And another Greek organization that was affiliated with the school was lacking on communication and basically never communicated with the school about when specifically or how specifically they were going to be able to pay for liability insurance. And so because of that, the school took a deeper look at the institutions of Greek life and found that they don't have the ability to really support us.
The Pines brothers discuss the downfalls and complications that come with reaffiliation.
It's going to be a long process to reaffiliate if the future of Pines is to do that.
Another thing too is I heard there's a rumor swirling to start up, you need to have at least 20 brothers. Right now we have 15, so whether we would have enough at that time is to be seen. In most places, if you lose affiliation in some form or fashion and you reaffiliate, you have to change one of your letters. So like for example, this would not be Pi Epsilon Pi anymore, it would be Pi Epsilon and just anything else most likely. They're going to have to review all aspects of it when the time comes, and when the actual guidelines for reaffiliating is like set in stone, they're going to have to look at all the pros and cons of it.
Despite all of this, Pi Upsilon Pi is going strong, and Anderson and Murray are hopeful and optimistic.
We're in a great position right now. We've been on a rebuild ever since COVID. There is something to be said for the way that things currently are, because honestly, they're not bad. Not being affiliated isn't really that big a deal. Just because we're not able to publicize on campus doesn't mean that we can't be spread by word of mouth. It frees up our time so we're actually able to do things like the philanthropies that we do, like the fundraisers that we do, like the fun brother bonding activities that we're able to take part in.
And also like just within the organization too, like the brotherhood of it and being able to have brothers that we can, like develop good leadership traits in and give them an opportunity that, they might not be able to get in like every other type of like organization like on campus.
We are just for each other. And I'd say like that is something that is really, really great.
For BWN, I'm Angelina Clark. After a fatal car crash in Clarksburg on Saturday, April 8th, the driver, Daryl A. Galarenzo of Reedsboro, Vermont, was charged with the manslaughter of his 2-year-old, reckless endangerment, negligent operation of a motor vehicle, operating to endanger, and operating under the influence. His son was found in Hudson Brook after Galarenzo fled the scene on foot. Galarenzo is being held on a $100,000 bail. Bro MX, the motocross track on South State Street, has been receiving some complaints recently. Last month, the track was granted the ability to stay open an hour later by the planning board, and since then, nearby residents have filed complaints regarding incessant noise and the closing time. The track owners, Jessica and Jason Langenbach, responded, stating that the complaint is completely unfounded. An answer from the owners and the planning board is expected by August. The annual day of service occurred over the weekend. Students in the community volunteer their time to help clean up the Berkshires. BWN reporter Mamadou Diallo gets his hands dirty to dig up information about this annual event.
On Saturday, April 15, MCLA students, staff, and faculty participated in an annual tradition Spring Day of Service. We got the chance to talk to Christopher Hatman, who was in charge of the event.
So this is actually the 31st Spring Day of Service. So it's been a long-standing tradition where students, staff, faculty all come together to roll up their sleeves and give back to the community for a few hours. So we have a lot of different service sites and options for people to just get involved. And when you have 100+ people doing service for 3 hours, it's 300 hours of service for the community all in one day. So you can see a big transformation that happens just in one day.
He also talks to us about the benefits from participating in Day of Service.
Well, the community benefits from just the people power, the hours being put into it. Students benefit from having a heightened sense of belonging. They can walk past a park and say, I worked on that park. Like, I helped build that. I helped paint that mural. I helped clean that soup kitchen, whatever it may be. It lets them learn more about what's happening in their surrounding community that they may not know about. And often they'll get to connect with a community member that works at that organization or volunteers there regularly. Because it's not just MCLA folks, we have all those organizations will send folks as well. So it's a great way to make connections to North Adams.
He also talks about the different groups and stations during the day of service and where they will be located throughout the day.
Okay. Yeah, so we have 13 or so service sites. We have some crews that will be outside working on local parks, from our North Adams Dog Park to a park over on Beaver Street. With our big snowstorms that happened in March, there's a lot of downed trees or limbs still places, so students and folks will be cleaning that stuff up. We have a team that's just going to be doing a mobile trash pickup, so they'll be walking around town picking up trash wherever they see. We have a team that'll be cleaning and preparing food at the Berkshire Food Project, a team that will be organizing the basement of the Lewison House, which is our local homeless and transitional shelter. We have a team that'll be doing spring cleaning at the YMCA. And we have some teams that will be going out to the Greylock Glen, which is a local trail system, and they'll be doing some trail maintenance there as well. So that's just a few of the sites, but it's going to be a beautiful day. It's going to be in the 80s and sunny, so we're excited to send people outside to enjoy the Berkshires as well.
And until next time, my name is Mamadou Diallo, reporting for the BWN.
Graduating seniors who currently live on campus are invited to remain on campus from the day the residence area is closed for the spring semester, Monday, May 8th, through commencement on Saturday, May 13th. There isn't an extra charge to stay, and you don't have to sign up for the Senior Days program to stay. All you need to do is complete this brief form by Friday, April 21st deadline, even if you are not staying. To fill out the form, use the link below. Summer course registration is now available at MCLA. Courses will be offered to MCLA students, high school students, interested individuals within the community, master's degree seekers, and other Berkshires-based college students who are looking for transfer credits. MCLA offers 2 summer sessions, A, which runs from May 22nd to June 30th, and B, which takes place from July 3rd to August 11th. Classes will be held both online and on campus. Before we end the episode, we, as Beacon Web News, would like to thank all of our senior staff for all the work they have done for us. We also would like to congratulate the class of 2023 and wish them luck on their future endeavors. For our last story, executive producer Sarah Tomczyk reflects on her time at Beacon Web News and says one final goodbye.
Hi, for those who don't know me, my name is Sarah Tomczyk. You may know me as Coco, or the girl on the TVs around campus. But today, I'm here to share my story as being part of Beacon Web News. Over the past 2 years, I've been a part of BWN. And within the last year, I took on the role as executive producer of Beacon Web News. During my time here, I've done numerous stories, from food reviews to man on the street videos. Beacon Web News has been truly an amazing experience. I've learned so much within this time, from storytelling to interviewing strangers, but I also learned leadership skills and confidence within myself. I wanted to thank everyone from Beacon Web News who has helped me throughout my journey. Without you all, I wouldn't be the person who I am today. I also wanted to thank you, to whoever's watching. Without your support, Beacon Web News would not exist. So again, thank you. I truly could not be more thankful for the opportunity that I was given. But unfortunately, my time has come to an end as I graduate on May 13th. However, before I leave BWN for good, I have one final thing left to say. But I kind of have to go somewhere first to say it. And for the last time, for Beacon Web News, this is Sarah Tomczyk.
For more stories, check out the Beacon's new website, theonlinebeacon.com. That was this episode of Beacon Web News. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at mclabeacon.news. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel at MCLA Beacon. This is Angelina Clark. Thank you for watching. See you next semester.